Well, hello. Now, I did a review of this game before, and I thought maybe I was a bit quick on the review, but now I've played it a lot longer now, much longer. And the reason is because one thing, I bought it and paid £30 for it. And the other thing is, we're all inside now, or supposedly stay inside, and I thought this game would really help me out, time-wise. But I'm going to do another review and a bit more about it because now I have more experience with the game. It's supposed to be the successor of Panzer General. Now, a lot of people know Panzer General. It was a very, very good strategic game. And I spent so many hours on that game, sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning just to finish a battle. And we all know that, don't we? And it turned out to be a very light and successful game, I believe. And was it great graphically? No, it had basic graphics. But what it did have was playability. And it was very well balanced. In other words, the outcome could go either way, depending upon how you played it. Now, I don't know what's happened to companies now, the game companies. They seem to have forgot what they're doing. They could have just made Panzer Corps 2 a slightly better graphical game with maybe a few little different touches in it, and it would have worked fine. But they didn't. Not to me anyway. So let's start with the problems the game has. The first one is it makes my graphics card fans spin up when I start the game, and they continue that speed all the time I'm playing the game. And some people have had CPUs being used 100% or even sometimes crashing. And why do you think that might be? Well, I think it's because they have everything swaying or moving on the map. Sure, you could have the flags waving a little bit, but they also have the planes hovering, sort of swaying a bit. They have all the men moving a little bit. Everything is moving on the map. I suppose it's supposed to make it feel alive. But the game isn't optimized very well, and your graphic card has trouble, or your CPU has trouble with all that swaying about. Now, they've spent a lot of time getting all these things to sway and everything else, so you can see exactly what people they are who actually made this game or pushed it out the door. They were more interested in the graphics than they were about the game. And the graphics are not very good at all, actually. Very sort of old school graphics. No, well, they could have spent their time on other things about the strategic of the game, but no, they spent it on planes swaying. Now, I believe if they made a patch and stopped the planes from swaying and the men from moving, you could have the flags waving a little bit if you wish, and I'm sure that would sort it out. I mean, it's just bells and whistles anyway. But the game is nothing like Panzer Generals. It looks similar, but that's as far as it goes. My experience, at least on the campaign mode, is it's very, very unbalanced. He has tanks that you can't kill half the time, or just when it's scripted that you're not supposed to kill them, if you know what I mean. In other words, everything that he has is twice as powerful as yours, even though he has the same amount of tanks or the same amount of men. And the men are way overpowered in this. They use them a lot here in this campaign mode. They can kill tanks as well, these men, just like nothing. So you do what you used to do with Panzer Generals, and you try to be more strategic. Think about it more. It doesn't make any difference to the outcome usually. It's all just scripted. For instance, if you have a plane and you put your arrow over these places to see what damage you could do to certain units and tanks and things like that, you'll get a number that comes up that's usually the same for everything that you attack. Say, for instance, 3-1 if you're lucky. And that's basically what you'll get on everything you put your plane over the top of. It's not taking into account the strengths, who they are, what they are, how much experience they have. It's just dumped in, if you know what I mean. And another trick that the game pulls is that if there's a tank or even a plane, doesn't matter what it is, even men, you surround it or whatever and you kill it or try to kill it, and it always goes down to that one life left, and it's red, but you can't kill it because it wants it to survive. so it runs away, and the next time you have to fight it again with another 15 units on it. Doesn't matter what it is, it's happened to me time and time again. Even if you're shooting at it and it says 4-0 and it's only got 4 units left, it will always usually leave that 1 so it can run away. And it's just a tactic to drag the game out. That's not strategic at all. It's just planned. And I mentioned in my other one about the fog of war, you can't really shut it off very well, or the weather. And the weather, if it rains, your planes are grounded, which are obviously not very good planes, obviously. And that's quite an annoying thing, and that's just another bells and whistles to make the game last longer. And I use the cheat codes actually to be able to see all the units they have. At least I know what I'm getting into. At least in the campaign mode, you get a certain amount of slots. And they're never enough slots, obviously. You could get mullered because you haven't got enough on the map. He has a massive army, and you're not allowed to put that much on. You're supposed to be able to do it with a little bit of tanks and men, and it never works out. You always get mullered, no matter how tactical you try it. But there's a cheat code to add more slots, which I've had to do in some of the campaigns because I've tried them 3 times and they are just mullered. And that's not cheating, I don't think. It's just unbalanced. I mean, I'm a tactical sort of guy. That's why I like these sort of games. And there was no way of winning with the amount of slots I had. You know something's wrong with the game when you almost immediately have to use cheats to actually make a game. Yes, so it's pretty clear to me the people that made this game or whatever were more interested in the look of it, how pretty it is, and it's not even that pretty, than they were about the actual gameplay. What they need to do is to bring out a very, very big patch, and that means to sort out all the swaying of the stuff on the map to calm the CPU and the graphics cards down, to make the game more balanced than it is, more strategic. As it stands, I wouldn't recommend people buying this game. If you want to play a good strategic game, just play Panzer Generals again. As it stands, this game will not be remembered in a little while, I'm sure. Not like Panzer Generals was. I don't see why a lot of people are saying it's a great game or anything. They mustn't have played Panzer General, or because it's a dumbed down Panzer General is what it is. An arcade Panzer General. I personally will persevere with it and try and use some different cheats here and there to see if I can get a good strategic balanced game out of it or something similar, as I'm trapped inside. Getting or having a decent video game seems to be such a rarity now, doesn't it? And the world's so screwed up you can't even tell if it's a good or bad game because it gets great reviews. From where though? Who's being paid? Who's creeping up to somebody anyway? And then when you do get the game, it's nothing like they said it was. But you've already spent your money. And of course there's probably guys who are pretty hyped up and playing Doom Eternal. Not my type of game. Run, shoot. That's about it. Don't have to think too much. Maybe that's the sort of game that the new generation is into. I wonder why. You see, I'm old enough to see what they did with movies. They made movies where they didn't have to act. It was all about special effects. And what do we get? Bland, boring movies. And it makes me really wonder that somebody can become a star and make loads of money by just standing there with loads of explosions going on in the background. That seems to be enough. Doesn't even have to say anything. This is a quick update of the game. They've introduced a new patch that loaded onto my game when I started to play it. It's called Patch 1, so there'll be many more, I suspect. So basically, they sent the game out that wasn't finished. They haven't spent years working on it, they just done it real quickly and threw it out the door. It's the issues of the fog of war. I think you might have more control over it, I don't know. And something about the lowering the polygons on the screen, as a couple other things as well. No mention of the balance as yet, though. And of course you can't get to the menu screen when you're in the campaign mode, so the only way to do it would be to start all over again with the new patch, I guess. Uh-oh, sounds like maybe I'm getting a bit of cabin fever. You have to even queue up to go shopping nowadays. I just went this morning. Amazing. Stay safe out there, people, and remember, 2 meters away from everybody. Bit tricky when you're having sex though, although I could do it, I've got a long thingy. Catch you on the other side.